if Jerome doesn't show up pretty quick.
No extra charge.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. So it looks like we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody. Have a good evening and welcome to the Nevada Camera Club members and guests to the Nevada Camera Club Electronic Image Competition for May 2022. Our committee staff tonight includes entry fee collector. Well, we're not collecting entry, there's nobody there. Announcer Ed Stiglitz, scorekeeper Mary Sheets, merit points reporting Julie Chadburn, projectionist Stephen Cups, and setup assistance by Mary Sheets and Stephen Cupp. Our judges this evening are in chair number 1, Jerome Hamilton, if in maybe. Chair number 2, Janice Phillips. Chair number 3, Frank Zach. Chair number 4, Cindy Wilson. And chair number 5, Rick Holmes. This evening, 25 members have submitted 71 images for review. Images are in 26 unique categories. The club challenge tonight is old. Please turn off your cell phones, those of you who are judging, so they don't go. That's a good thing. Let me, as I do that myself, and turn off that cell phone and then turn off that cell phone. Okay, now that that's done, let's move on here. And now here's your Nevada Camera Club Electronic Image Competition for May 2022. So we're going to start out today with judges Rick, Janice, and Frank. Our first image tonight will be in abstract category in advanced class color division, Fire Glow number 1. Scores, please. Comments, please.
I really like
it.
The leading lines bring your eyes right into the color follows it down, and then the eye, it brings the eye right back around to the top where it comes back down to the color. I would like to have seen the colors a little bit more vibrant though.
The image scored a 24. That was the only entry in the category. Let's move to judges Janice, Frank, Cindy. We're going to move to advanced color animals pets with the king. Scores, please. Comments, please.
I think the strong colors of this on this bird is just phenomenal, and I just think it's sharp, and I just striking.
I went with it because it's a little soft on the beak and on the back part of the crown.
Still doesn't affect the beauty of it.
Yeah, the colors were awesome.
Scored a 25. Same category, same judges. Bee fly. Scores? 898. Comments, please.
The B is beautiful. It's very sharp, very detailed. I would have given it a higher score, I think, if it hadn't been dead center. It just was a little too in the middle for me, but otherwise the sharpness was exquisite.
That scored a 25. We have 2 to review for placement, starting with B fly and then moving back to the king. A 1 or a 2, please, on the king. Scores? And the judges have selected the king. Judges. Rick, Frank, and Cindy. Moving on to intermediate color, creative, moon and jet.
What level was this, Ed?
This is intermediate.
Intermediate. Okay, thank you. That helps.
Scores? 888. Comments, please.
I would have liked to have seen a little tighter crop on it. The negative space is just a little too much for my taste.
Scored a 24 and was the only entry in the category. Staying with judges Rick, Frank, and Cindy, we are moving on to advanced color creative with transformed. Scores, please. Rick, you're out of focus. I can't read yours. Thank you.
I think this is a very dynamic image. It looks like, I remember years ago, someone said things like that look like Photoshop homework projects, but I think this one is very, very nicely done.
That scored an 889 and a 25. Same category, same judges. Daisy. Scores? 887. Comments, please.
As a creative entry, you're free to do things like boost the saturation and so on. There's a lot of creative technique that's been applied, but it didn't really keep my my attention for very long.
Same category, same judges. Moving on to Intertwined. Scores, please. 999. Comments, please.
I really like it. I like the colors. I like the motion. I like the idea that's on the black background, which makes it stand out quite a bit. I'm sorry, Cindy, I was talked over you.
That's okay. And you basically said what I was going to say.
We have 3 to review for placement, starting with Intertwined, back 1 to Daisy, and then back 1 more to Transformed. A 1, 2, or a 3, please, on Transformed. Show scores 2, 2, 2, and then to Daisy. Scores. And the judges have selected Intertwined. We're going to judges Jerome, Janice, and Frank. We're going to advanced color documentary, Life in the Desert. Scores, please. 999. Comments?
I liked it because everything's nice and sharp on the ram. The background's nice out of focus to bring the attention right to the ram. And I like where it's positioned in the frame.
Scored a 27. Same category, same judges. Baby Gosling snuggling under mom's wing, except for 1. Scores, please. 888. Comments?
It's a nice capture of the geese. They're all nice and sharp. I mean, it's hard when you got the light coming in behind it. But it's a nice image. It's just not spectacular.
Scored a 24. 2 to review for placement, starting with Baby Goslings, going back to Life in the Desert. A 1 or a 2, please, on Life in the Desert. Scores. And the judges have selected Life in the Desert. Changing judges to Janice, Frank, and Cindy. Advanced monochrome documentary, E.T. Call Home. Scores, please. 988. Comments?
I really like this image. I mean, I don't know. I love all the lines in the satellite. I mean, I think the density, the grays are really nice in this image. I love this starburst. I think it's a very interesting image.
Scored a 25. Same category, same judges. Spencer, Type O, Mitchell Field. Scores. 888, comments, please.
I would have cropped out that, I don't know what it is, the grate or something on the left. It's kind of distracting over there, but otherwise, I like the whole mood of the image is quite nice, but I would have cropped off that little extraneous, whatever it is on the left-hand side.
We have that scored a 24. We have 2 to review for placement, starting with Spencer type O, and then going back to ET call home. A 1 or a 2, please, on ET call home. Scores. And the judges have selected ET call home. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Master color documentary, Italian Fort. Scores, please. 888, comments, please.
I mean, it meets the category. It's, it's an interesting castle. I just feel like the time of day taking it, need to do it at sunset, get more color and golden light on the building, and it would improve the image.
Same category, same judges. Container ship Taiwan Triumph crossing the Panama Canal. Scores. 878, comments.
I think it's a beautiful image, but I think it would have been more dynamic if we'd actually seen the container ship in a lock. It looks like it's just, floating through the land over there. We see the lock in the foreground, but no ship in it. So that's how I would think it'd be improved if we could actually see the ship in the lock.
Scored a 23. We have 2 to review for placement, starting with the container ship, and then back 1 to Italian Fort. A 1 or a 2, please, on Italian Fort. Scores. And the judges have selected Italian Fort. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Intermediate color, nature, wildlife. Desert flower. Scores. 878, comments.
I think in a intermediate category, you've done a good job handling the color, the saturation. Sometimes we're stuck between having too much in the image or not enough. And I think here it might be a little bit too much. I think if you focused a little bit more on one of the blooms at the end of the branches, it would have been a stronger image. And then also having the leaves from the tree on the right side, if they were more, diffused like the ones on the left side, I think that would have helped the flowers stand out as well.
Scored a 23 and was the only entry in the category. We're going to stay with judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy, and we're going to go to advanced color, nature, wildlife with Mojave Aster. Scores, please. 877, comment, please.
I'm a little high or versus higher than the other judges. I think it's a good attempt. I like the kind of bullseye where there's not really a lot of composition except for it's right in the middle. The background has nice diffusion. You see a little bit of the stem that's also diffused. I think the biggest problem is you do have the focus in the middle, but having all the petals completely out of focus is not giving this probably the oomph to get higher scores than it got.
Same category, same judges. Quail in a Tree. Scores. 887, comments.
I think in the advanced category, I would have liked to see more detail in the feathers, like there's no detail in the feathers in the wing. And the background to me is very distracting. So in an advanced category, I would have expected a little more detail in the feathers.
Scored a 23. Same category, same judges. The Pollinator. Scores. 878. Comments.
I think this is a great attempt at taking the insect on the plant. It's just hard when the insect is so dark and the flowers on the left are very bright. My eyes just want to kind of stare at the flowers. Maybe it would have been, if he had more shots, maybe if it was on its side and we could see more of them from that angle, we might have improved it.
Image scored a 23. Same judges, same categories. Splashing Sparrow. Scores. 778, comments.
I really like the sparrow in the water. And maybe because we talk about composition so much, you did give this a good placement and a rule of thirds, but at the same time, I think having this big rock that kind of takes away from everything on the right side, maybe even a little bit of the top rock, but just chopping that off and maybe a little bit off the bottom and getting a little bit closer to the bird and the action would bring your scores up on this one.
Scored a 22. Same category, same judges. The Stare Down. Scores. 888. Comments.
I mean, you have a great headshot. I mean, nice close-in shot. I think what really makes this image is his eye. That one eye is just bullseye sharp and draws my eyes to it. And plus his position of his horns. It's very nice.
Scored a 24. Same category, same judges. Tasty. Scores 9, 8, 9. Comments.
I really like the positioning of this. I like the little tongue, a little bit of the sprout sticking out of his mouth. Nice texture throughout the fur. It looks like it's really sharp. And the blue sky. I think the blue sky adds. A lot of times we don't like blue skies, but I think seeing this blue sky shows us how high he is and how far up in the air he is. So I think this was handled very nice.
Scored a 26. Next we have Western Tanager. Scores 887. Comments.
Yeah, I've photographed the Western Tanagers, and I think this is quite cropped in and it lacks the detail in the feathers. That's why I scored it. It just isn't as sharp as I would like it to see.
Same category, same judges. We have next the guard at Petroglyph Canyon. Scores, please. 778. Comment.
I really like the tree in the middle, and I think that's what you're going after, the guard, of course. I think the hardest part is the time of day and the lighting, because you have really good texture on one side with the sun shining on it, and then the other side is kind of in shadow. Yeah, even though we do see the texture, it's just the two different parts aren't working together. I like the tree and the placement and the composition being right in the middle. It just lacks a lot of oomph to give it a higher score.
Quarter 22. Next we have Gosling. Scores, please. 999. Comments.
A beautiful image, it's very sharp. I love all the water spray all over the bird and his reflection. You know, pretty difficult to do anything better with this image. I think you did a nice job.
Scored a 27. We have 3 to review for placement, starting with Gosling, going back 3 to Tasty, and then going back 1 more to the stare down. A 1, 2, or 3, please, on the stare down. Scores. And then Tasty. Scores. Wow. And then and then Gosling. And the judges have selected Tasty. That was interesting. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Frank. Advanced monochrome, nature, wildlife, butterfly. Scores, please. 887. Comments, please.
I was right on the edge of 7. I would expect that it's a little bit bright in the background, and that was kind of what I was thinking the judges might score down for. I kind of like it. If anyone knows my style, I shoot really bright, light images. But to bring this up higher, I think you just needed a little bit more focus throughout the butterfly. It looks really good on the bottom wing, and then the top wing's a little bit soft.
It scored a 23 and was the only entry in the category. Changing judges to Janice, Frank, and Cindy. People color, Ginny. Scores, please. 988. Comments, please.
The image is beautiful. I love all of her shadows, but that bright white background to me just is a little too bright. She's perfect, but that white just kind of blows my eyes out. But she's beautiful.
Scored a 25. Judges Jerome, Frank, and Cindy. Advanced colored people. Can I take your picture? Scores. 888. Comments.
I think this is handled pretty good. I really like the cropping on the arms. So you have a full hand right at the shoulders. Maybe could have come in just a little bit more so it doesn't kind of look humpy on that right side. Things I would adjust just a little bit, and it's easy just with moving her chin or the light in the back, is I like the side light on her face, but I don't like the side light on the side of her nose. And then the hair that comes down to her eye. That's the only two things I would have fixed. Otherwise, this is handled pretty good.
That scored a 24. Same category, same judges. LV Kaminari Takayo. Scores, please. 878. Comment, please.
I went with the 7 because the foreground's in focus, but it starts to lose the focus going toward the back, and then it seems like the back came into focus, and for me, it's very distracting.
So we have 2 to review for placement, starting with Tycho and then moving back to Can I Take Your Picture? A 1 or a 2, please, on Can I Take Your Picture? Scores? And the judges have selected Can I Take Your Picture? Judges Janice, Frank, and Cindy. Advanced Monochrome People, Mudface. Scores? 9, 8, 9. Comments?
I think this image has a lot of impact. I still was debating between 8 and 9. I don't think you needed all of his forehead because it's out of focus, and just brought that down a little bit. And maybe just use Photoshop and brightened up the whites in his eyes. It would even make it more impactful. But very interesting image. I love it.
Image scored a 26 and the only entry in the category. Judges Jerome, Frank, and Cindy. Master Colored People, a drink from my best friend. Scores, please. 7, 8, 7. Comments, please.
This is a people category, and this does have a people or person in it, but I think category wise, this is a little bit more about the dog. I do like the interaction between the two. Not a lot going on with the lighting. It's just kind of a straight down lighting, and then just having all the space around there is not necessarily taken away, but it's not necessarily helping either.
And that scored a 22 and is the only entry. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Intermediate color photojournalism, Showgirls. Scores, please. 7, 7, 8. Comment, please.
I like all the color and saturation. And although there's probably too much going on in this, I do like the interaction and the activity with the girls on the left side. I think we probably could have gone ahead and cropped out the showgirl on the right side, moved it all the way over to the wing of the showgirl in the middle, and that would have give you at least more secluded action of what you're trying to photograph, because having the rest of it with the cars, the people walking across the street does not help at all.
That scored a 22. Next judges, I would like Jerome, Janice, and Frank. Note to marriage writer and recorder that the next two images will have the same judges in the same category. So with judges Jerome, Janice, and Frank, I would like advanced color photojournalism, BYU. Scores, please. 889, comments, please.
Uh, really good placement on the red line in the back, which I know is the lane dividers. Great job catching him with the water. Yeah, it's very grainy, but I understand that's not why I scored it down. That's just from the low light inside. I like that you're trying to get that whole splash, but I think really taking off and cropping a little bit from the right side secludes him a little bit more, which is more what you're going. If you want that whole splash, I almost feel you need a little bit more behind him as well.
Scored a 25, same category, same judges, In the Shade.
I'm sorry, Ed, tell me category again.
Advanced color photojournalism.
Photojournalism, okay.
Scores, please. 778, comments, please.
I went high, and I like the colors. I like the subject. I just would like to have seen it been cropped a little tighter off of the right-hand side. That's extremely distracting for me.
Scored a 22, changing judges to Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Master color photojournalism, Waiting for the Pope.
No, Ed, back up one. That's master category.
What did I do wrong? I said master color photojournalism.
We were in advanced
We didn't do a placement.
review,
We didn't
review
finish.
for placement.
Okay, I need to do a review for placement in advanced color photojournalism. And we're going judging between In the Shade and back one to BYU. A 1 or a 2, please, on BYU. Scores. And the judges have selected BYU. Now, moving on to judges Jerome, Janice, and Frank. No, not wrong.
Did Cindy last
Jerome, Janice, and Cindy, please. Master color photojournalism, Waiting for the Pope.
master color photojournalism.
Scores, please. 777, comments.
I just don't see the story of Waiting for the Pope. I see a crowd and souvenirs and a flag in the corner, but nothing in there tells me the Pope is coming.
Scored a 21. Changing categories to and judges to Jerome, Janice, and Frank. Advanced color pictorial, The Chase. Scores. 999. Comment.
Beautiful image. I mean, I love the lighting on the jets. I mean, you can see into the cockpit. You got a beautiful sky behind them. It was just a perfect day, perfect image.
Scored a 27. Changing judges to Janice, Frank, and Cindy. Advanced monochrome pictorial, Covered Bridges, number 1. Scores, please. 889, comments.
I like the tonality of the image. I like the idea of the image within the bridge. However, my eye keeps getting drawn up to the flowers at the top. Maybe if you'd have cropped in a little tighter on the bridge itself in camera. But other than that, I really liked it.
Scored a 25. Same judges, same category. The Wave at Snow Canyon. Scores, please. 888, comments, please.
Just beautiful rock formations. I mean, I really love this image. I don't know if it's just because the lighting, maybe it's during the day, so the light's a little bit too bright. I think that's the reason I had to score it lower, but it's a really nice area.
Scored a 24. We have 2 to review for placement, starting with the Wave at Snow Canyon, and then moving back 1 to Covered Bridges 1. A 1 or a 2, please, on Covered Bridges 1.
Sorry, Ed.
Okay.
Jumping back.
Scores. 1, 2, 1. And then the Wave, the 5, it doesn't matter. The judges have selected Covered Bridges 1. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Master Color Pictorial, Sunset Harbor. Scores, please. 899, comments.
I just love the overall mood of it. And I kind of like the fact that the buildings are in sharp, but obviously it's a time and the boats were moving and you get that softness in the front. And I really think it works for the image.
Mhm.
It scored a 26. Same category, same judges. Sunrise. Scores, please. 888, comments, please.
It's a beautiful capture, beautiful colors. I love that yellowish orange. I don't think you need all the image on the right. Crop it in closer to where the birds are, and I think that would improve the image too.
Scored a 24. 2 to review for placement, starting with Sunrise and then back to Sunset Harbor. A 1 or a 2, please, on Sunset Harbor. Scores. 111. The judges have selected Sunset Harbor. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Advanced color still life. Do you know the way to Zion's Park? Scores, please. 998. Comment, please.
I almost felt it was just a little bit oversaturated, but I think it's just all that red in the road that made me feel like that in that deep blue sky. But this is a still life, and if you want saturation, you can have it. I think this has a great composition with the road bottom thirds and the mountain range about the top thirds. And I love those leading lines that go right into the middle of the image. So I think this is handled very nicely.
Scored a 26. Same category, same judges. Robot Love. Scores, please. 998. Comment, please.
I think it would have been improved, in my opinion, if they'd cropped a little off the top and included all of the hand at the bottom, and a different lens that has a sharper starburst would have been really awesome. But it's awesome as is. The cropping to me just is a little unbalanced.
Same category, same judges. Bouquet. Scores, please. 899. Comments.
Can't believe how beautiful muted colors you have there. I mean, and it's so sharp throughout. It's just, I mean, it's hard to take a bouquet, and I think you did an excellent job.
Scored a 26. Same category, same judges. Purple Robe Locust. Cost. Scores, please. 787. Comments, please.
I think you have a good subject with the purple flowers and the locust or low cost. I think you just needed to zoom in and be focused a little bit more centrally on one of those patches of flowers. All the green that kind of pops in and out is just not helping this particular image.
That scored a 22. We have 3 to review for placement, starting with Bouquet, and then back 1 to Robot Love, and then back 1 more to the Do You Know the Way to Zion's Park? A 1, 2, or 3, please, on Zion's Park. Scores. 213 for a total of 6. And then Robot Love. Scores. 1, 2, 2 for a total of 5. And then Bouquet. Scores. 3, 3, 1 for a total of 7.
We did it.
And the judges have selected Robot Love.
Oh, nice.
Nicely done. Judges, Janice, Frank, and Cindy. Beginner, monochrome, unclassified, photo walk. Scores, please. 788. Comments, please.
I really like this. It reminds me a little bit of something Henry Cartier-Bresson would have photographed. For a beginner, I think it's excellent. Something over in the right-hand side is a little distracting for me. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like it might be a radio or I have no idea what. But if that wasn't in there, I think it'd be a little stronger.
It scored a 23 and was the only entry in the category. Judges, Jerome, Janice, and Frank. Intermediate color, unclassified, downtown Boulder City. Scores, please. 888, excuse me, 888. Comments, please.
There's not really impact outside of maybe the color green and yellow together. Not a lot of interest in this. I guess we don't have to have that in an unclassified category. This is kind of just a snapshot picture, and I don't mean that in a rude way, but it's kind of like, hey, I was here, here's a nice picture. I do like your rule of thirds, using the bottom of the building in a lower third, the top of the building's top third. You handled the clouds pretty well with the highlights and the darks, but other than that, it's just kind of an image that's there, not necessarily competition image.
I like that because I like the gentleman that looks like he's sleeping down on the lower left-hand side. And I love the colors. It just looks cattywampus to me. I don't know. It looks off balance.
The image scored a 24 and was the only entry in the category. Judges, Jerome, Frank, and Cindy. Advanced color, unclassified. Saguaro Blossom. Scores, please. 888. Comments, please.
I think you handled the whites very well. That's difficult to do. I personally would have cropped some of the right and the bottom off. It doesn't add that much to the image, and just concentrated on the flower itself.
That scored a 24. Same category, same judges. The Next Generation. Scores? 999. Comments?
Sometimes it's kind of lucky, but this is a little bit luck with just perfect capture. As I know some judges would say, I appreciate the 15 baby ducks with the one mom duck, which gives you odd numbers, but you got them all looking the same way. Almost every single one has a catch light in the eye. And this is very good, very good shot, very lucky shot. I like it.
Score to 27. Same category, same judges. Hoodoo Towers. Scores, please. 787. Comments, please.
I like the colors on it. I like the composition. The only thing that's bothering me is that there's no base. It's like there's nothing anchoring it to the image. I love the colors.
The image scored a 22. Same category, same judges. Sand Dimples. Comments? Scores. 879. Comments.
I think this was a very good opportunity, and I agree with what the maker was trying to do. I think I like having all the focus throughout. I like all the texture through the sand. This makes a very good abstract, and maybe it would have scored a little bit higher just in the judge's mind in an abstract category. But I think there's just no pattern. You kind of have one pattern here on the side, one pattern on the top, then the dimples through the middle, and it's very good and just not quite there.
I went with a 7 because for me it was too confusing. I think if he would have just came in on one section of it, I think it would have made it a little stronger image.
And I loved all the different patterns. So
The image scored a 24. Same category, same judges. Dung Beetle Moving Day. Scores. 888. Comments.
I love how both beetles are in focus. I love how the ball's in focus. I enjoy that the background is blurred. It just, I can't say why I didn't give it a 9, but it just is a good solid 8. It is in focus, and it is quite interesting telling the story.
Scored a 24. Same judges, same category. Unconditional Love. Scores, please. 788 comment.
I think probably emotionally, this means a lot to someone who either took it or is actually in the picture. I like the dog's face and the emotion. I think just not everything else is kind of working with you here with the lighting or the backgrounds and stuff like that. So I think this is, sometimes people's dogs photos are kind of like people's kids photos, and I have a ton of them that I think are great, but when it comes to competition, they just don't score as high.
Scored a 23. We have 4 to review for placement, starting with Dung Beetle's Moving Day. Then back 1 to Sand Dimples. Back 2 to The Next Generation. And then back 1 more to Saguaro Blossom.
Can we see those one more time?
Yes, you may. Saguaro Blossom is this one. Going forward to The Next Generation. Going forward 2 to Sand Dimples. And then 1 more to Dung Beetle Moving Day.
Okay, thank you.
1, 2, 3, or 4 on the Dung Beetles. Scores 422 for a total of 8. And then to Sand Dimples. Scores 243 for a total of 9. And then The Next Generation. Scores.
Hey, we agree.
For a 3. And then Saguaro Blossom. Scores 324 for 9 again. Okay, so the first place will go to The Next Generation. Second place will go to the Dung Beetle, but we need a runoff between the Sand Dimples and the Saguaro Blossom. So between the Saguaro Blossom and the Sand Dimples, a 1 or a 2, please, on the Saguaro Blossom. Scores 221. So the Sand Dimples get the 3rd place ribbon. Judges, Janice, Frank, and Cindy. Beginner, color, club challenge, backyard collection. Scores, please. 988. Comments, please.
I think for a beginner, you did a great job. I mean, everything in this image is old, and I like your angle of the building, the tire that's kind of in that corner. Maybe you could have got that right side building out. I think, you really met this category.
Scored a 25 and is the only entry in the category. Judges, Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Intermediate color club challenge, the Old Plymouth. Scores, please. 898, comments, please.
I think it definitely fits the category, the old Plymouth. I like the saturation and stuff in the car. Maybe not so much saturation in the background, but the car looks really good. The sky almost kind of looks painted in there, so it kind of looks funny. And the sky actually takes my eye away from the car, so it's a little bit overpowering. But good job for the old.
That scored a 25. And next, same category, same judges, we have Snow Canyon Dunes.
Snow Canyon Dunes.
Scores. 787, comments.
Well, the rocks definitely are old. I just think it lacks contrast. Sorry, I've been traveling all day. I'm a little woozy here. Is that the right word, Jerome, that I'm looking for?
Yeah, there's not a lot of pop. There's not a lot of saturation. I think the time of day is not helping you here. And I've been to Snow Canyon Dunes, and this does not look like the dune part of it to me, because the dunes are actually sand. So
It scored a 22. We have 2 to review for placement, starting with Snow Canyon Dunes, and then back 1 to the old Plymouth. A 1 or a 2, please, on the old Plymouth. Scores. And the judges have selected the old Plymouth. Okay, judges, Frank, Cindy, and Rick. Cindy and Rick. Okay. We're in advanced color club challenge. We're going to start with Centurion. Scores, please. 898, comments, please.
I think it's appropriate for the category. I like the vignetting on the corners, pushing your eye into the middle. Catch lights in the eyes are nice. There's a lot of detail in the face. I think it's very appropriate for the category.
Scored a 25. Next, we have Old Chevy. Scores, please. 888, comments, please.
The Chevy is beautiful and in focus. It would have been a stronger image if the background had been blurred out, if there'd been difference in depth of field, so that the kind of the framework on the left and the building on the right weren't distracting from the beautiful vehicle.
Scored a 24. Next, we have Old Miner's Shack. Scores, please. 887, comments, please.
I would have liked to have seen more tonality in this, a real white, a real black. We have the black, but I think the grays are overwhelming.
Scored a 23. Next, we have 415 BC Temple of Hephaestus, Athens.
Could you read that title again, please?
415 BC dash Temple of Hephaestus dash Athens.
That's what I thought you said.
Scores? Oh, wait a minute, we're waiting on one. Here we go, score. 778. Comments, please.
Well, it's obviously old. I just find a lack of where I should be looking. There's no one spot that really draws me in.
Scored a 22. Next, we have old bottles. Scores, please. 887. Comments, please.
I think that a slim line of the top row would have been a stronger image.
Scored a 23. Next, we have Ramses II, 1244 BC. Scores, please. 879. Comments.
I was the high scorer. I think that certainly meets the category. We've got nice focus. The shadows are nicely handled.
Scored a 24. Next, we have 1909 Bell Riot, oldest flying aircraft. Scores, please. 878. Comments, please.
I like the color. I like how it's offset from the green in the back. The wings down in the lower right are a little distracting for me. But other than that, I like it. If without the wings, I'd probably go a little higher.
Scored a 23. Next, we have the Ancients. Scores, please. 889. Comments, please.
I love the detail in it. You can see every rock. Uh, I like the petroglyphs and below the buildings. I think it's very well done.
Scored a 25. Next, we have the Old Homestead. Scores, please. 988. Comments, please.
I think this is a very striking image. It has good detail. It has good range. You've got detail in some of the shadow areas. You've got a little bit of the brightness, a little bit of the white off the wood, white in the sky. I think it's an all-around excellent image.
Scored a 25. Next, we have Old Artwork. Scores, please. 887. Comments, please.
Very, very nice rock art. I think I saw an odd number of sheep, but that's irrelevant. That was a joke. It's nice that you've isolated this part of the panel from the rest of the panel with the slimline presentation.
Scored a 23. Next, we have Let's Go This Way. Scores, please. 887. Comments, please.
Got a couple of elderly people in it, but they're not really the main focus of it. We've got the ticket signs, we've got the window on the side, we've got the bull and crown in the back and so on, that I think if you had focused more in on the people, it would have been stronger for this category.
Scored a 23. Next, we have Tattered Curtains. Scores, please. 788. Comments.
The
I
title is, what was it? Torn Curtains. But my eyes keep getting drawn to the outside of the windows because it's so bright. Granted, the curtains are old, but for me, the focus seems to be outside, not the curtains themselves.
Scored a 23. Next, we have Belize Civilization. Scores, please. 888. Comments, please.
The building is quite interesting, but actually the most beautiful part of the image is the sky. But it does capture this ancient pyramid quite well.
I agree with you there. The problem I have with the sky is if you look around the tree line, you can see it's pixelated a little bit, almost as if when they cut it out, it didn't smooth it out.
Scored a 24. Next, we have Ye Old Boots. Scores, please. 897.
I was a low score. I guess they're old boots. If there had been some holes in the soles, it would have been older. They just didn't strike me as the strongest image for this category.
Scored a 24. Next, we have Old Man. Scores. 888.
It's a great picture of the elderly gentleman. I just somehow wish we didn't have the modern city in the background, but maybe that shows a contrast from his age and modern times. But a very interesting gentleman and a nice capture of his face.
That scored a 24. Judges, you did very well. We have 3 to review for placement.
Woohoo!
If we can go all the way back to the old homestead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back. Yeah, that looks right. And then one more back to the ancients.
No,
No, too far.
Both of them were wrong.
yeah, he skipped the old homestead. There you go.
That's the old homestead. And then one more to the ancients. And then back to the first image, which was Centurion. So the Centurion, the ancients, and the old homestead. A 1, 2, or 3, please, on Centurion. Scores. 2, 3, 3. A score of 8. And then the ancients. Scores. 3, 2, 1. And then the old homestead. Scores. 1, 1, 2. The winner is the old homestead in first, and then the ancients got second. Okay. Judges Jerome, Janice, and Cindy. Resting for the rest of you. Master, Club Challenge, color, The Parthenon, 2,500 years later. Scores, please. 998 comments.
I think this definitely fits the category with the old. I like the sky and how the sky actually draws you in. The whole sky is like a leading line into the center of the Parthenon, and nice sharpness throughout. Very good.
Scored a 26. Next, we have Old Doors. Scores 788. Comments.
I mean, I love taking old doors, and I think you've got a really cool one here with the kind of, the green in the doors. The right side need to be toned down a little bit, lights, but I've always loved doors.
Scored a 23. Next, we have A Street in Dubrovnik. Scores 777. Comments.
I think the lighting was just too difficult, too harsh to get a good even tone.
Scored a 21. We have 3 to review for placement, starting with A Street in Dubrovnik. Back one more to the Old Doors, and then one more to the Parthenon. A 1, 2, or 3, please, on the Parthenon. Scores 111. The Old Doors. Scores 222. And the judges have selected the Parthenon. And that's the end of our show tonight. Thank you, judges. Thank you, competition staff. Make sure you remember to turn your cell phones on before you leave. And have a good